Hello students, good morning everyone. So in our previous session, I have discussed the process of photosynthesis and I have ended the discussion by explaining the process of photosynthesis and the events occur during the photosynthesis. Now, I would like to once quickly recall whatever I have discussed at the end of the session, that is in my previous session. So we have discussed about photosynthesis. Then what is meant by photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is a process by which the green plants prepare their own food in the presence of sunlight. So do you think only the sunlight is enough to prepare the food? So there are other requirements also wherein the plants need for the preparation of food under the process of photosynthesis. So now let us understand what are the things required by the plants for the preparation of food and the process of photosynthesis. I'm going to discuss everything in short. So the requirement for the plants under photosynthesis are: the plants require chlorophyll, sunlight, carbon dioxide and water. You know what is chlorophyll, right? So chlorophyll, it is a green colored pigment which is present inside the cell organelle called chloroplast. And the plants also require sunlight. Then how do these plants get sunlight? They get sunlight from the atmosphere, that is from the nature, and carbon dioxide from the air, and water they absorb from the soil. So these are the four major things that the plants require to perform the process of photosynthesis. So if you want to know about the chloroplast, you can observe this picture. So this is the cross section of leaf, and here the thickness of leaf which you can observe, and the thickness actually consists of epidermis. You can see the upper layer is called as epidermis or upper epidermis, and up under epidermis there is epidermal cells, and after epidermis we can see the chloroplast. You can see the chloroplast here, and these chloroplasts actually contain the green colored pigment called chlorophyll. So even if you aren't observe under the microscope, we can actually see the green colored pigment, that is the green color patches, and these patches are nothing but chlorophyll. Okay, fine. So now let me quickly move towards what are the events which took place or taking place under the process of photosynthesis. So when I talk about the steps or the events, the first event which takes place under the photosynthesis is absorption of light energy. Here the leaves, they absorbs the light energy from the sunlight, that is that they absorb solar energy for the preparation of food. So that is the first event which takes place under the photosynthesis. And how do this solar energy is absorbed? It has been absorbed by the green color pigment called chlorophyll. Fine. So next thing is conversion of light energy into chemical energy. Means the light energy which has been received by the chlorophyll, they get converted into chemical energy. And the next thing is splitting up of water molecules takes place. These water molecules, they get splitted into hydrogen as well as oxygen with the help of light energy. Okay, so this you can understand by looking at this equation. Here you can see that the water molecules, they get splitted up, and as a result I also got the oxygen as a byproduct. Carbon, the carbon dioxide, it is reduced into carbohydrates, that is glucose. Okay, and the last event which takes place under photosynthesis is reduction of carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide get reduced by the hydrogen, and it forms the carbohydrates. What are carbohydrates? Just now I told you the carbohydrates is the glucose which is present or produced inside the leaves. Okay, so these are the three major events which takes place under the process of photosynthesis. I have already told you this topic is very important with respect to exam point of view. So please learn all the events which takes place under the photosynthesis. Fine. Now let us talk about the stomata. What are stomata? So the stomatas is a tiny pore present on the surface of the leaves. So these tiny pores, they cannot be seen through the naked eyes. It can be only observed under the microscope. Next thing is gaseous exchange occurs through the pores of stomata. As I told you, this stomata is present on the leaves. If you look at the leaf, what happened? There are tiny pores which are present on the surface of the leaf, and these tiny pores are called as stomata. And inside stomata, what happened? The gaseous exchange occurs through the pores of the stomata. So, which is the gas which is majorly exchanging here? That is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide enters to the leaves through the stomatal pores. Carbon dioxide enters to the leaves through the stomatal pores. Then why the carbon dioxide is absorbed to the stomatal pores? Because carbon dioxide is very important for the preparation of food under the process of photosynthesis. And this carbon dioxide is being absorbed by the small pores called as stomata. So the next is the guard cells. The guard cells govern the opening and closing of stomata. So now another important thing, that is, I was discussing about the gaseous exchange. The gaseous exchange happens through many ways in the plant. It may happen through roots, it may happen through stem, but majority of the gaseous exchange takes place through stomata. Now, due to the presence of these small pores, the way carbon dioxide enters inside the leaves, in similar way, the water can also go outside the leaves. Means, I was telling you that on the leaves there are tiny pores which are present called as stomata, and these stomatas are the tiny pores where the gaseous exchange take place. And which gas is being absorbed? The carbon dioxide is being absorbed, and this stomata not only absorb the carbon dioxide, it also exit, means it sends out the water through the stomatal pore. So what happened? I was telling you that exchange of things happens here. That is, carbon dioxide enter and the water exit out from the stomatal pore. Because of this, there are number of pores on the surface of the stomatal leaves, right? So there are so many stomatal pores on the leaves. As a result, what happened? There may be much loss of water. I told you, as carbon dioxide is moving in, the water is getting out, right? So as a result, what happened? The plants may lose more amount of water. Means there will be much loss of water which may take place when there is exchange of things happens. So therefore, these pores should not be opened all the time. So then what actually happens? If the pores has to close, something has to be done, right? So this is being controlled by the guard cells. Actually, the guard cells, they govern, means they control the opening and closing of stomatal pores. Why the guard cells have to control or govern this? Because to avoid the excess of loss from the water, or to receive the carbon dioxide for the plants for the preparation of food. So when does this stomata actually closes its pores, or when does it actually opens? The stomata closes its pores when the intake of carbon dioxide is not happens. Means, suppose this is stomata. Here you can observe the figure. So I'll tell you in detail about the parts and what exactly happens here. So let us understand. Here what happens is the carbon dioxide enter and the oxygen exits from the stomatal pores. Okay, so and this opening and closing of stomata is governed by guard cells. Okay, so the guard cells actually they govern the opening and closing of stomata. When does this cells have to mean the stomatal pores has to open, when it has to be closed, it has been controlled by the guard cells. Okay, now let us look up how the guard cells actually look like. So here is the image of the stomata, that is both open stomata and the closed stomata. Actually, the stomata looks like the bean shaped seeds. You can see these are the bean shaped seeds, and the gap which is present inside is called as stomatal pore. So now we can also see chlorophyll. You can see the chloroplast. So inside the chloroplast there is presence of chlorophyll, which is often called as green colored pigment. Fine. So now how the guard cells control and open the stomata? How they will help to control, to open and close the stomata? What actually happens is when the water enters, when the water enters, what happens? The stomata closes, means when the water enters, what happened? The stomatal pores they get opened, which was closed earlier. Okay, the guard cells open. As a result of this, what happened? The size of this increases. The stomatal pore, that is, the size of the stomatal pore increases as the water enters inside it. And when water is removed out from this stomatal pore, the guard cells shrink. This guard cell, the bean shaped seeds, right? These guard cells they get shrink. Shrink means the size decreases. Okay, so the size of the pores decreases. As a result, what happened? The stomata get closed. So whether the stomata cells opens or close, it is governed by the guard cells. I repeat, when the water enters, you can see that when the water enter inside the stomatal pore, the size of the guard cell increases, and when the water exit out, what happened? The size of the guard cell decreases. You can see this is actual image of the shrunken stomatal pore, means the size when it is decreased, actually the stomatal pore look like this. Okay, so these activities are controlled, means the opening and closing of stomata is controlled or governed by the guard cells. Fine. Hope you all understood what is stomata and what are the parts present inside the stomata and how does the guard cells help in opening and closing of stomata. Okay, now let us move towards the next. There is an activity. So this activity is given in your textbook. That is activity 6.2. Okay, so let me read the activity. You can keep the textbook for your reference. So here activity 6.2 says take 2 healthy potted plants. We have taken 2 healthy potted plants which is of same size, and we are keeping these plants in a dark room for 3 days. Means after taking these 2 plants, what are we doing? We are taking these plants and keeping them in the dark room almost for 3 days. Now place each plant on separate glass plates. I am keeping them separately on the glass plates, and I am placing a watch glass containing the potassium hydroxide by the side of one of the plant. There are 2 plants, okay, which I have kept separately, and by the side of one plant I am placing the KOH. KOH stands for potassium hydroxide. So by the side of one plant I am placing the potassium hydroxide, that is KOH. And the potassium hydroxide is used for something here. Okay, so what is it something? You will be analyzing later. So I'll be telling you why it is being used. Okay, but actually potassium hydroxide is being used for the absorption of carbon dioxide. Fine. The potassium hydroxide is being used for the absorption of carbon dioxide. I'm repeating this because this activity based question is also asked in the examinations. Fine. So after placing the KOH, we have to cover both of the plants with the separate bell jars. These are the bell jars. So with the help of bell jars, I'm covering both of the plants. Okay. So now after covering with the bell jars, I'm using the Vaseline. Means at the bottom of the plants, I'm using the Vaseline to seal the bottom of jars or the glass plates which are being kept below. Why it is being done? Because there should not be any entry of air. To avoid the entry of air, we are making it as airtight. Means we are setting up as that none of the air should not get enter inside the bell jar. Okay. So after this, we have to keep these plants in the sunlight for about 2 hours. For how many hours? For 2 hours, we have to place this plants under sunlight. Fine. So the next thing is we have to pluck a leaf of each plant and check the presence of starch as in the above activity. Means the activity which we have discussed now. Okay. So when it has to be done? After 3 days. After 3 days, what we are going to do? We are going to perform all this activity. So what exactly happens here? Here is the first thing is you all have to observe that we have kept KOH in one of the bell jar, whereas in another we have not placed anything, just the plant is being covered with the help of bell jars. Okay, and entry of air is strictly not allowed. By sealing with the help of Vaseline, we are not allowing any kind of air to enter inside the bell jar. Now the question is, do both the leaves show the presence of same amount of starch? For example, if we take the leaf of first plant as well as second plant, and if we check the presence of starch, in earlier session I have discussed how we are going to check the starch with the help of iodine solution, right? So similarly we are following the same method here also. So if we check the leaves of both the plants to know in which leaf the starch is present. So can we see that in both the leaves whether the starch is present? The question is, do both the leaves show the presence of starch? So what might be the answer now? The answer is actually no. Why? Why it is no? Because in photosynthesis, the starch is produced. Then how does the photosynthesis takes place? It takes place in the presence of sunlight, chlorophyll, carbon dioxide, right? So in the first setup, the availability of carbon dioxide will become less for making the starch, right? By the leaves of the plant, the production of starch or the preparation of starch become very less. Why it happens? Because for preparation of food and the process of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is very, very important. But what we have placed here, we have placed a KOH inside the first plant. That is the KOH. What is the necessity? What is the role of placing the KOH here? The KOH is absorbing, that is potassium hydroxide is absorbing the carbon dioxide, right? So if the carbon dioxide is not present, so how does it happens? Then how means how it is possible for the plants for the preparation of the food, right? But in the second setup we have not placed any such sort of KOH. So what happened? The leaves will actually prepare the starch. So now in which plant we can see the presence of starch? It is in the second setup. Okay, fine. And now the next question is, what can you conclude from this activity? So by performing this activity, what actually you can conclude? So we can conclude that the carbon dioxide is essential. It is very, very important. Carbon dioxide is important for the process of photosynthesis. In the below this activity, actually I have mentioned what are the questions which have been asked under this activity. The first question was, do both the leaves show presence of same amount of starch? No. Why it is no? I have already explained you, because carbon dioxide is necessary. In the second question, they are asking, what can you conclude from this activity? So we are concluding that carbon dioxide is essential, that is important for the process of photosynthesis. So what is the role of KOH here? KOH actually they absorbs the carbon dioxide. Fine. So hope you all understood this activity. Okay. So before moving to next topic, let us recall once we have whatever we have learned under heterotrophic nutrition. First of all, tell me what is heterotrophic nutrition. So hetero means actually they're not able to prepare the food. They're depending on some other organisms for their survival, for their food, right? So heterotrophic nutrition here, the organisms depend on others for their food. So what are heterotrophs? Heterotrophs are the organisms depends on the others for their food, and the organisms which follow this method of nutrition are called as heterotrophic nutrition. So now under heterotrophic nutrition, today we are going to discuss about nutrition in amoeba. So we are going to discuss about nutrition in amoeba. How do organisms obtain their nutrition? You know that, right? So either they prepare their food by themselves, or they obtain their food by depending on others. Here, under the nutrition in amoeba has holozoic mode of nutrition. Amoeba has holozoic mode of nutrition. Holozoic means here what happened, the organisms they take complex things as the food to their body from the external environment. Okay, since the food is obtained by each organism is different, the digestive system is different in various organisms. Means it may not be same in amoeba as well as the human beings, right? Because we are obtaining the food in a different way. The complexity is different, right? For example, now let us discuss about what happens under amoeba. Okay, so the nutrition that amoeba has is holozoic, means amoeba takes place complex organic matter as food from the external environment. Okay, now let us understand how amoeba obtain its food and what are the steps involved under nutrition process of amoeba. So you can observe this picture. In previous year also you might have this picture, you were depicting that how actually the amoeba obtain the nutrition. So unlike other holozoic mode of nutrition, that is unlike other heterotrophs, so amoeba is having the holozoic mode of nutrition, and the organisms which have the holozoic mode of nutrition have some certain steps. Okay, so the steps are like ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion. These are the 5 major steps which you have already studied when you are in 8th standard. Okay, so now how does the amoeba obtain its food and what are the steps involved under the nutrition process of amoeba? The first step is ingestion. What is meant by ingestion? Ingestion means intake of food. Okay, the amoeba take in food with the help of the process called ingestion. Okay, then amoeba uses pseudopodia. What is meant by pseudo? Pseudo means false. Podia means feet. Okay, here the amoeba uses pseudopodia for the consumption, that is for the intake of food. It is nothing but the temporary extension. You can see that in this picture, you can see the different steps where the amoeba is taking in the food. Okay, under the process of nutrition. In the first picture, you can observe the amoeba, whereas the food which is present in the external environment. In the next step, you can observe that the amoeba is taking in food with the temporary extensions called pseudopodia. This is the false feet. It keep on changing its false feet. Means that is the false body. Okay, this is a temporary extension of cytoplasm. Then where is the cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is present inside the body of amoeba. Okay, so that means cytoplasm of amoeba extends its body towards the food particle and it encloses the food. Means the cytoplasm is extending, means it is creating its false feet, right? So by creating its false feet, what happened as a temporary extension, it is receiving the food particle, means it is moving towards the food particle, thereby it is enclosing the food. Okay, so now once the food is enclosed by amoeba, you can see in this third picture, the food particle is being enclosed. As a result of this, what is formed? The food vacuole is formed. Okay, once the food is been enclosed by amoeba, the food vacuole is formed and then the food is absorbed. Okay, and then once the food is absorbed, what happens inside the food vacuole? The ingestion takes place, means intake of food is been now completed. Okay, so now after the ingestion, what is the next step? The next step is digestion. So for the digestion, the enzymes are required. So the enzymes are released by the lysosomes present inside the amoeba. What are lysosomes? You have already studied in the 8th standard itself, and then even the 9th standard also there was a continuity about cells. Actually, the lysosomes are the suicidal bags which helps in converting the complex food into simpler ones. Here you know that they are the suicidal bags. They are helping what is that splitting up, or they're helping what is that conversion of something. Okay, so here they are called suicidal bags, and these suicidal bags called lysosome, they help in the digestion of food which has been intaken, means which has been taken by the amoeba inside the food vacuole. So all these things happen inside the food vacuole, and the next step is after the ingestion, digestion, the next step is absorption. So now the digested food is diffused into the cytoplasm. What happened? The food get digested. In the fourth picture, you can observe that there is no food vacuole here because the digestion took place. Now what happened? The food has been digested and it has been diffused into the cytoplasm. Means once the food get digested, it come back to the cytoplasm. So what happened? It gets spread. The food gets spread all over. Okay, inside the cytoplasm. And the next step is assimilation. So assimilation takes place. Here what happens? The absorbed food by the cytoplasm is stored and it is used later for the synthesis. Here what happened? The absorbed food is stored as a fat or a glycogen which is used by the amoeba later for its energy. Okay, and lastly, egestion takes place, means if the food enters to the body after the completion, what happens? Some unwanted product has to be thrown out of the organism. That process we call it as egestion, and this egestion takes place under the process of amoeba, and food is being moved to the surface of the cell. Here what happened, the amoeba does not has any specialized organ for removing the waste product from its body. Because of this reason, what happens, so once the food gets assimilated, what happened, the undigested or unwanted food material, it comes to the surface of the cell. This surface, it means outer, okay, it comes to the surface of the cell and thrown out to the cell membrane. So cell, there is cell membrane, right? So the food is being thrown out by the cell membrane. So this is how the nutrition in amoeba is taking place. Hope you all understood. Okay, so once again let me have a quick recall of how nutrition takes place in amoeba. So firstly, what happens, so in amoeba, under process of ingestion, what happens, the amoeba takes in the food, right? So how does the amoeba takes in food? It takes in food with the help of the phosphate, that is pseudopodia. What happened, pseudopodia is a false extension or the false feet. They come in contact or they come towards the food particles, and food particle is being enclosed. Actually, this pseudopodia is the extension of cytoplasm, and after the food is being reached inside, what happened, the food vacuole is created. So once the food vacuole is created, what happened, the digestion process starts. So under the process of digestion, what happened, so in the presence of an enzyme called lysosome, the food is being digested. So in the next step, absorption, what happened, the absorbed food get diffused into the cytoplasm inside the amoeba, and this is being assimilated later. Assimilation means what happens, the food which is stored is being used later. Okay, so in the amoeba, the food is stored in the form of fat or glycogen. Lastly, what happens, egestion takes place. What is egestion? The unwanted food materials are being thrown out of the body of amoeba. So how does it throw out the unwanted material? So the unwanted food material just comes to the surface of the cell and it is thrown out by the cell membrane. And these are the steps taken place under the amoeba under the process of nutrition. Hope you all understood, children. And in today's session, I would like to end up by discussion about the nutrition in paramecium. So why I am discussing the nutrition about paramecium is, what are the difference between the nutrition under amoeba and paramecium, you have to discuss. So unlike amoeba, the paramecium also have the holozoic mode of nutrition, which we have already discussed. What is holozoic mode of nutrition, right? So under holozoic mode of nutrition, as I have already discussed, there are some steps, which is ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion. Okay, so even the paramecium has the holozoic nutrition, as I told you, and some of the things which follow the holozoic mode of nutrition are some of the microorganisms like bacteria, algae, etc. And let us discuss now what is the first steps which happens under the mode of nutrition under paramecium. The paramecium also takes in the food, means the intake of food is being taken place under the process of ingestion. Now, then how does the paramecium take in food? The paramecium take in food by cilia. So what is cilia then? Cilia is the hair-like structures present on the cell body. You can see the hair-like structures which are present all over the body of the paramecium, and this cilia help the paramecium to receive its food. Okay, so once the food is being brought near to the organism with the help of cilia, what you have seen in the amoeba, the pseudopodia was playing the role of cilia. Okay, but in paramecium, the cilia takes the food nearer to the body. As a result, what happened? The paramecium obtains its food. And what happens as the food comes nearer to the paramecium, the food enters through the oral groove. You can see there is a opening called as oral groove. The food enters to inside the oral groove, and then it goes inside the food vacuole. It goes to the gullet and to the food vacuole. What happened? The food vacuole actually is formed once the food is been received by the paramecium. So here also, unlike amoeba, the digestion takes place with the help of enzyme called lysosome. What happened? The lysosome help the complex food to split into the simpler ones. As a result, what happened? The digestion takes place. So once the digestion is finished, what happened? The next step is absorption. Here, the absorption of the digested food happens. As a result, what happened? The energy is released, right? And it is been stored, it is been diffused in the cytoplasm for later use. Okay, and the next, after the absorption, what happened? Under the process of absorption, what happened? The digested food get released into the cytoplasm, and it is been used for the later purpose under the process of assimilation. Okay, the absorbed food get used later, means it gets synthesized later under the process of assimilation. So lastly, what happened? Egestion takes place. So under the amoeba, we have seen that through the cell body, that is through the cell membrane, the food get egested out. But in paramecium, the unwanted food get egested out through anal pore. So here we have a specialized structure called anal pore, which is helping in removing the undigested food from the paramecium. Okay, it is a specific site. Okay, so now some changes which we have observed under paramecium is they have the specific site for intake of food. That is, the food enters through oral groove to create the food vacuole. It enters through oral groove, and the food exits through anal pore. Okay, so now I hope you all have understood how the holozoic nutrition takes place in simple organisms like amoeba and paramecium, and what was the major difference which we could find out between the amoeba and paramecium was, so amoeba does not has any specific site for the intake of food. It just take in food with the help of the finger like projections called pseudopodia and creates the food vacuole. But in the paramecium, it has the oral groove. The paramecium has the oral groove. Okay, so with the help of cilia, the paramecium take in food, and the cilia sends the food through oral groove, and the food vacuole is formed. Fine. So next step was the digestion. So the digestion was similar in both amoeba as well as paramecium. Here both in amoeba and paramecium, the digestion takes place in the presence of an enzyme called lysosome. As a result, the complex food is being broken down into the simpler ones. The next step was absorption. In both the case, the digested food get diffused into cytoplasm. And next step was assimilation. Here, the absorbed food by cytoplasm was stored under cytoplasm for the later use, means for the synthesis, for the later purpose. The absorbed food uses later by an organism for the production of energy or for performing any kind of activity. Okay, so the last step was egestion, but here we have the difference. So in amoeba, the egested food was just moved out through the cell membrane, but here under paramecium, the egested food comes out through a specific site called as anal pore. So this was the major difference between the amoeba and paramecium under the nutrition. Okay, hope you all understood better, children. What all the things I have discussed in the session 3. So in the next session, I'm going to discuss about nutrition in human beings. So do watch next session to understand about the nutrition in human beings. Thank you.